Hey y'all, this is AL Thick Madame, and this is the recap review season finale for The Shy. Oh Lord, y'all. So today has been a day I feel a lot better than I did this morning when I ended up doing my other videos. So, thank y'all for the kind words and all that. So yeah, I feel a lot better. So let's go ahead and get into this. Oh, before I get into it, I'm just letting y'all know now. Y'all might see me sip every now and again. There's some lemonade. I don't need it, but and I got my water on deck. I got a little bit of this water left on deck, but I don't need this lemonade, but I wanted it, so I'm drinking it. Anyway, y'all. So the episode begins with the funeral of Ronnie. It's Ronnie's funeral, and I really feel like I'm supposed to know who this woman was that was singing down. Who was the woman, y'all? I know somebody in the comment section need to know who this woman is. Y'all let me know who she is. But that woman was singing. When I say the range, when I say the octaves, like this woman did the absolute most, and I got my entire life. Woo! I was here for it all. I was like, well, I don't even want to hear the rest of what everybody else finna say. I want to continually listen to this woman sing. But anyway, the woman sang down. Y'all, the pastor was up there, and he was basically talking about to be absent from the body is to be present with the Lord. And that ain't what he said, but I guess they weren't trying to make it so in your face about God and all this other stuff. But whatever. He said to be present with the spirit, and I was like, okay. I mean, maybe that's people consider that to be the same thing, but literally, I've never heard anybody say that before. Maybe it's just the area and the regions that people are in, but people usually say to be absent from the body is to be present with the Lord. But I digress. Anyway, he was up there, and eventually he was like, anybody have anything they want to say? If you do, this is the time to do so. So the dudes who left to go to Springfield to work, they were there, of course. They were cool with Ronnie. One of them said, I love you. One of them said, I miss you. The ex who was with him when he got killed stood up and said, I'm sorry. And Keisha got up with a bouquet of roses and went up to the casket and laid it on the casket and said, thank you. So, I mean, I expected her to do something or say something. And I was just like, wow. So, yeah. Whew. They ended up burying Ronnie, and they are literally still in the graveyard when the police arrive and they arrest Papa's daddy, the pastor. And so Papa's standing there looking like I really feel like Papa was so shook that he didn't have the reaction that a lot of us probably would have thought he would have had. But it is what it is. So anyway, they're walking, and before the arrest even happens, Keisha and Emmett are near one another, and she was like, look, I got a lot of stuff going on. You ain't gonna really, know what to say to me, or we'll be here for what I'm about to say. So I don't even want to talk about it. So he was like, try me. So she was like, I'm pregnant. And so he was like, hold on, wait a minute. And they stopped walking and everything. And he basically kind of tried to lighten the mood by talking about, I can't believe this. This is like the first time in life that a woman has said this to me. And I was 100% sure that the baby wasn't mine. And it's like, I get what he tried to do, but I was just like, bruh, that's the wrong thing to say. Like, you acted like you were fully understanding of the horrific things that she has experienced when you came over to the house and you were talking to her and you were able to get her to laugh and open up and all this other stuff. But in this moment, there's a baby. She is pregnant by this man. So why are you talking like this? Like, I was just like, bruh. And then I was already tired of him anyway, because even before that moment happened, him and his mama were walking in the graveyard and cemetery, whatever you want to call it. And he was just like, well, why this had to happen in front of my business on opening day, my grand opening of all days. And his mama even had to say, it ain't always all about you. Like, I was like, thank you, because I'm tired. So anyway, it's a lot. His father had been arrested for money laundering or whatever, y'all. So anyway, Emmett and Tiffany are talking, and they're at their um counseling session. And they are talking about the wedding plans. He done forgot to go and do what he need to do in order to get the license. And it's like too much stuff that ain't done. Ain't nobody communicating. He thought that they was gonna have the reception at Red Lobster, and she was like, "Nah, it's too expensive. Like, ain't nobody on the same page." And I'm just like, this is some foolishness, but okay. But anyway, the therapist is sitting there like, like she's just looking like, okay. It's a complete and total coincidence that I have this on my head, but she said something about like, don't let the do-rag or don't let the rag or what she said. She said don't let the scarf fool you, or my degrees fool you. I'm from the streets or something she was talking about. And it's like basically everybody can see through all of what y'all got going on, and y'all are immature and y'all are not ready for marriage, but she ain't there to judge and she can't tell them what to do. So Tiffany was like, well, I mean, yeah, you're right, so let's go. And so they ended up leaving, and I was like, yeah, okay, whatever. All the boys are hanging out at the house as usual, hanging out at Kevin's house in his room, and they're smoking. And Papa is like really in disbelief of everything that has happened with his father. Y'all excuse me. And so he's kind of trying to talk to them, but they looking like it ain't that big of a deal or whatever. And it's like he is just not used to that. Like he's thinking, my daddy is this grand being and he is on a higher playing level than everybody else. So for me to see this happen, I don't know how to feel. My mama ain't telling me nothing. I don't know the details of why he has gotten arrested, if he gonna come home. At this point, I gotta take care of my mama and Maisha by myself. How am I gonna do this? Like, he really is over there panicking and like setting it off. So they told him to go ahead and take a hit of the substance that they've been smoking and all this other stuff. It's just, he's just so tired. And I'm like, I don't blame him. I get it, but it's like, woo, he is a child. And I hate that a lot of kids literally go through this for real in real life. So Jada and Keisha are talking about the pregnancy, and it got to the point where Jada was like, look, I mean, I feel like I can, link you up with somebody who would be more suitable to discuss this with you, because she hasn't really been through anything like this before. But I'm like, well, shoot, if you got somebody who can come through, then you might as well link her up with somebody who would fully understand her dilemma, because at this point, she doesn't know whether or not she wants to go through with an abortion or just have the baby. So anyway, Trig and his girlfriend, Imani, are getting ready for the custody hearing, and he is very, very nervous about what the outcome could be. And, she's just trying to encourage him and tell him, like, look, it's going to be all right. And if we win, we win. You know what I'm saying? Don't think negatively. So the person who Jada ended up having her meet up with was Tiffany. And I was like, okay, I like the fact that they were cordial, despite the fact that, both of them have been with Emmett at one point in time or whatever. And she's the current, she's the past, all this other stuff. So anyway, because y'all know how the interaction was at the beginning of this before she was kidnapped. So yeah, they're talking, and so she was like, look, Jada told me that you wanted to, that I should come and talk to you, but she couldn't tell me what was going on. So, of course she couldn't. That's client, privilege, client, you know what I'm talking about. It's the HIPAA and all that stuff. So she couldn't really say nothing like that. And especially since she didn't know who was going to come out and be the person that was going to talk to her. So she ended up telling her that she was pregnant. And so she was easily able to infer that it was definitely from old boy. So she was like, well, I had a situation last year with Emmett, and I had to think on whether or not I was ready to have another child. And I came to the decision that we were not ready, and the one that we already had was more than enough. And so she was like, well, how long did it take you to come to that conclusion and think about it? And she was like, some weeks. And, Keisha is trying to think about, what's a proper timeline. But I'm like, girl, you can't really just be like, oh, well, within 2 weeks, I will. Everybody, if you ever go through anything in your life like this, you definitely have this 2 week window that your body is just going to automatically tell you, yes, this is what you need to do, or no, you need to do it like this. That's not how it goes. And so I was like, dang, man. It's not that simple. But I can kind of, understand where she's coming from when she was asking that. So the pastor ended up showing up to the pizza place. Y'all know Otis Perry's pizza place that, one of his locations that the boys work at. And so he's out of jail. I don't know how he got out or whatever. Somebody posted bond or something. I don't know. And he was looking for Papa. Papa tired. He done bucked up on his daddy. And he is like really tired of his daddy always telling him all these random things and just basically saying, do what I say and just blindly follow me instead of explaining what the situation is. And my thing is this, I get it. Despite him being a child, I get it. And I feel like, in all honesty, I love my parents. I really do. But when I was a child, there were things that were happening that I didn't know about. My siblings didn't know about. But all of my other cousins knew about this stuff. And then when we became adults, stuff came out new to us that they already knew about. And it's literally stuff that we should have known. But I mean, I guess that was a way for my parents to feel as though they were protecting us from things and just keeping us innocent and just in the kids' mind frame. And I get that, but it's just there are a lot of times that we just need to just know the harsh truth about things and just kind of rip the bandage off. Not completely take away our innocence and all that, but I'm just saying, like, there were like things that we just should have known. And I'm talking about, I was like 20 something. So since I'm the oldest, I'm 20 something and everybody else younger than me, my siblings or whatever. And we just finding this stuff out forever after the fact, 10, 15 years after the fact. So yeah, y'all, it's crazy, and I just don't fully agree with that. I think it's a case-by-case situation. And Papa is very, very mature for his age, despite him being a child. And y'all gonna look at me like, why would you say that? If you said that for him, why don't you feel the same way about somebody else who I'm gonna discuss later on in the video? And I mean, it's just gonna be what it is. So anyway, y'all, Candy, because I don't know why I can never think of what her name is on this show, but Doodah's wife, she rolled up on Camille at the office and was like, why haven't you used the information that was given to you? And she basically was just like, look, I'm trying to run a clean campaign. I'm not gonna use that information. And it is what it is. I don't want to win dirty. And so, of course, she kind of hit on her and told her that she looked nice and that red lipstick was doing what it needed to do for her and all these other things. Candy be looking good, though. I ain't gonna lie. She was looking good all this season. I don't care what nobody got to say about her. So yeah, that's what happened with that. Y'all, Emmett is at the house trying on clothes for the wedding, and he comes to find out that his father has stolen all this stuff. All this stuff still has tags and the little sensors on them, and old girl was just like, so what? We ain't gonna wear this stuff ever again. Let's just do what we gonna do. So anyway, while everybody was talking, because it was like him and his daddy were in a room and Tiffany and Jada were in another room just trying on stuff. And Jada was just like, look, I just want to thank you for all that you've done. You have, put up with him and you have dealt with him. I love what you've done by being with him. Look, they just had a heart to heart. They were talking about him and they both were just like, yeah, he's not perfect. And she was like, yeah, he's not perfect, but he mine. And she was just like, yeah, I'm the only one who can put up with him or whatever. And, they were laughing. It was a mess. So anyway, y'all, Jake, Trig, and his girlfriend Imani are in the elevator on their way to the room that they need to go in order to have the custody hearing. And you can tell that Trig is very nervous. And he asks Jake, is he nervous? He was like, nah. And so he was like, oh, okay. And so he tried to play it off like he wasn't nervous at first, but then he was like, well, I'm nervous. And so Jake was like, yeah, I'm a little nervous too, or whatever. So I was like, oh, look at y'all. Look at y'all. And so, you know, he was like, look, no matter what happens, you my family, you gonna always be my family, despite what the judge says. So that seemed to have made Trig feel, you know, good, and Imani was here for it too. So y'all, they had the bachelorette party. They had some kind of questions that Emmett wrote down, and questions or whatever, and answers or whatever, things that he should know about her. And he didn't know some of the stuff. Like, I guess, like her favorite food, the first place that they went on a date, stuff like that. But the only thing that he really did pass was what he loves about her. And she was like, oh, I know what this one, I know what this one is. And she stood up and was talking about it was her booty. And she was like, yeah, he said your booty and your loyalty doing the most. And so, you know, her and Jada had a moment again. And she was like, you know, I feel like I've gained a daughter and whatever. So anyway, Dudar didn't show up. There was a failure to appear, so the judge ended up granting custody to Trig and Imani. I already knew it was gonna be some foolishness attached, but we're gonna see. So yeah, Maisha ended up coming to the pizza place, and Papa was trying to figure out, you know, what is going on, how does she know to come there, and all this other stuff. And his boys texted her and told her to come there. And of course, outside of him, he needed the support from his woman, y'all. So they went and talked by themselves, and she ended up donning him with her chain that had an M on it, which of course stands for her name, Maisha. And so she was like, you know, you said you wanted to, you know what I'm saying, let people know, you know, we are exclusive, so this is how we gonna do it. You know what I'm saying? So he was happy about it. He thanked her for being who she is and allowing him to be who he is and encouraging him and all that other stuff. They are so cute. I cannot get over it. And so it got to the point where they were discussing his daddy and how his daddy treats him. And he was like, I can't even ask him nothing. Because even if I do ask him, he gonna just be like, I should stay in a child's place. And then he was like, you know, the Bible says you're supposed to honor your father. And so she was like, well, when are you going to honor yourself? And so, excuse me, y'all. She was like, you got to honor yourself. At some point, you have to honor yourself. Y'all, you should be telling him some things. I'll be here for it, though. So, yeah, y'all. Emmett's daddy ended up taking him to get a massage. Didn't invite none of his friends. Didn't do nothing that people normally do who have senses. So he was like, I ain't had none of their phone numbers. And so he was like, I would have gave you their numbers. Like, why didn't you just ask me? So, of course, he get an attitude with him. I'm like, how you get an attitude when it's supposed to be his bachelor party? Like, I don't understand. He was thinking that he was going somewhere where there were going to be strippers. Of course, he ain't finna come up off of no money. He already done stole all the clothes y'all finna wear. Like, come on now. I'm trying to understand how he schemed up on this massage situation. We find out he has some kind of coupon that's like 2 for 1 or whatever. And y'all, it was a mess. So anyway, the women are back at the place having a good old time. They smoking weed. They get a knock at the door. There is a fake police officer there. And I was like, okay, this looks like a stud or some woman who is going to identify as a stud or no label or whatever, but is definitely a woman. And so she was like, I mean, you said that you don't like male strippers, so they ended up getting her a female stripper. I thought it was cute. I thought it was a cute little dance. I was here for it. I wouldn't mind going to one of them. I have never been. I've always wanted to see Chippendale dancers. Any of y'all ever seen them before? Apparently, like, there is like a Chippendale situation like an hour and a half, 2 hours away from here, maybe 2.5 at the most, in North Carolina. I ain't never seen them before though. Maybe I'm too old for all that now. I don't know. But I used to always wonder about it. I used to hear about it, but I've never been. But whatever. It ain't that deep. But I'm just saying that's just something I always wanted to see. So yeah, y'all. Emmett ended up coming home early. And so she was like, what you doing here so early? And so he was like, man, whatever. It is what it is. I wanted to be with my wife. And so she was like, wife to be. Y'all, some grown things ended up happening. And I was like, oh, okay then. Y'all better do that. So anyway, Camille didn't win. She ended up giving her little speech and was like, it is what it is. And it's going to take time for change to happen and whatever, blah. So Douda had a strategy this whole time. He was very strategic in why he didn't show up. And we will see why later on. So Keisha is at the appointment. She is at the abortion clinic or wherever this is. And her mama come in the room and was like, you know, are you sure you don't want to go through with this? Because Keisha was just like, I don't think I could do this. So then they go on the outside to talk a little bit more. Her mama is like, you know, are you sure? And, you know, are you sure you want to have this baby? And are you sure you want to raise it? Then they end up getting to the house. She's still talking to her. Kevin comes home. He hears Keisha crying. He go in the room and he trying to figure out what they're talking about. And this is when Keisha feels compelled to tell him that she's pregnant. Oh my gosh, the child in him, I was like, please don't do this. I was like, I know they're going to do it, but please don't do this. He was like, you pregnant with that crazy man, baby? You talking about that crazy man, baby? I said, oh gosh, no. Lord. I was like, Lord, the child in him just came out like, Y'all, I was so done. Like, he was just like, why would you do that? Why would you keep that? That don't make no sense. I was like, Lord. So, yeah. Imani and Jacob had a moment. They were eating because she'd cooked and all this other stuff. They had a moment. And so they were talking. Jacob was like, what does manslaughter mean? She explained what it meant. And apparently he'd gone through her records or whatever. And he'd known that, you know, she had a conviction or whatever. Something was in her records about manslaughter. And this, of course, is when she killed her father. So that was explained. And he was just like, well, why would you do something like that? What happened? You know what I'm saying? And so she was like, because he wanted a son. And so I thought it was amazing that he knew what the situation was. He knew what her T was, which was that she is trans. And he knew exactly what it meant. And he was cool with it. I really thought Jake was going to really try it and be how a lot of some of these street people are when it comes to stuff like that. And they just want to disrespect people. My thing is, if you give off good vibes and you're a really good person, it shouldn't matter what you identify as. If you're not hurting anybody and you are being really good and nice to people, it shouldn't matter. And it seems as though that's the vibe that Jake gets from her. So I'm glad. So I was like, okay then, y'all better set it off. And so they actually ended the conversation on him wanting to know, will they be able to keep him in that expensive school? And she was like, you know, we'll work on that. Y'all, Papa is struggling with his father's answers to everything about why he got locked up. And you know what I'm saying? He was talking to him, had a one-on-one with him. He was like, look, I want to give you and your mama the world. And he was like, but we just want you. I was like, don't make me cry, Papa, because I'm here for it. I'm here for all of your responses. Like, Papa is very, very emotional, but he is so real. I'm so here for it. So anyway, he was like, you know, he is very concerned about how he's going to be because he sees like his reflection in his father, ultimately, from what I could tell. And he was like, you know, well, what kind of man will I be? And his daddy was like, a better man than I am. And I was like, okay then. So y'all, Jake had to learn real quick about responsibilities. Real quick. Because he had finished his food and he thought he was just gonna get up and walk away. And so Imani was like, where you think you're going? He was like, oh, I'm about to go watch some TV. And so she was like, I cooked, so what you're gonna do is go in there and wash those dishes. And so he was like, well, can I do it before I go to bed? And she was like, nah, what you gonna do is do them now. Lord, he was like, oh, so I see what this gonna be. I was like, please don't do this. But he didn't try her for very long. She had to let him know this is responsibilities. You need to do what you're supposed to do. It is what it is. You're gonna respect me. I know you think you're an adult, but you're not. So get it right. Get it right. Get it tight. Anyway, Gemma and Kevin met up. They linked up. I guess her daddy out of town or something. I don't know what's going on, but they was gonna go on ahead and Betty write it on up one good time. Tonight is the night that you make me a woman. You said you'll be gentle with me, and I hope you will. That's all I'm thinking this whole time. I'm like, please don't do this, because I already told y'all before, the first time they tried to have sex, I was like, do not show these children trying to have sex, because I'm tired of us. Anyway, the sex happened, but they made sure not to show anything, and it was just them in the bed, fully clothed, with the covers over themselves, looking very prim and proper, trying to understand why it was so fast. Like, Kevin was just like, was it supposed to be that fast? And so she was like, oh, I Googled it. Yeah, it's fine. It's just porn that makes you think it's supposed to be all this drawn out stuff or whatever. I was like, oh my God. Y'all, anyway, so the day of the wedding happens, and I'm like, okay, whatever. Jada told Emmett, I'm gonna need for you to act the same way that you would act if Tiffany was in front of you whenever she's not with you. And I'm like, girl, please. I don't know if he's gonna be able to do it, but I hope he's listening, girl. But anyway, just act the way that you would act if she was present. Y'all, dude ought to popped all the way up on Trig and Imani like it wasn't nothing. It was like, what it is, it's finna be this. I'm me. I didn't show up on purpose. What you gonna do is take over the streets for me. And Trig was like, I'm not about that life no more. All I'm trying to do is stay in the house. He was like, look, I know you need money. I know you want all this stuff in order to keep on doing what you're doing. And you know you're going to need the good old money in order to keep Jacob in that school. And so he was like, man, I ain't taking your money. He was like, oh, I ain't giving you nothing. You going to work for this. So his plan, he is so trifling, y'all. When he was talking to Candy, he was like, why have one brother when you could have two? So I was like, how is he going to pull this off? He basically is turning him into Reggie, but on like a higher level. And I'm just like, I'm done. He has agreed to the situation, and Monty looking like, bruh, like you can tell all her hopes and dreams and everything just washed out of her face. Like she tired. Y'all, I'm just trying to understand why Duda, upon leaving, after he's already gotten the confirmation from this boy that he's gonna do the job, for him to say, there's a new sheriff in town, MF. Why? For what? I was just like, you must have been waiting your whole life to say that. Oh, okay. But anyway, y'all, he really was talking about, I'm going to teach you the game. You're going to make all this money. And you ain't got to worry about the cops bothering you, because that was definitely one of his concerns. He was like, oh, no, you ain't got to worry about that either. I'm like, oh, my gosh. Like, Imani tired in her spirit, and that's just the end of that. So, y'all, at the end, what happened was the wedding happened. They actually just showed everybody what they had going on. The wedding happened. Papa put his necklace on Maisha, and it had a P on it. Trig, Imani, and Jake were in amazing spirits. They seem to be vibing well. Nina and Dre are very happy, and Keisha is, it seems like she's up in the air about everything, but we still haven't seen it for confirmation. But she went and got on up out of the bed and went for a jog. And is resuming life as usual. I guess it's kind of like starting the way it ended, which was her jogging. But anyway, that was the end of this, y'all. I hope y'all enjoyed it. Y'all have a good one. Bye.